I haven't made a theory video in 8 months as of writing the script, 9 months as of recording this, and probably a year by the time this comes out. I don't know how to really go about this now, with MatPat being retired and all. It almost seems kind of disrespectful, which is one of the reasons why I've been putting theory videos off in the first place, but at the same time, this is MatPat's legacy, right? Inspiring others to make their own videos, to share their own things into the world, and for everybody to be a big community. So here I am, out of retirement, back in the ring. And I got a big theory to come back with. Theory? No. Call this my definitive-ish thoughts on this new FNAF era in its entirety. That's right, everything. And there are some hot takes here, so just stick with me. Also, there's not a lot of evidence in this, and when I say that, it's not because I'm making stuff up. Everything is cemented in facts, in every little bit and piece from all the games, from the books, from everything, all the numerous videos I've seen. It's just, I didn't want to go into every little individual piece of evidence here because then it would make this like 3 hours long, and I did not want that. So I don't go into a lot of detail as to where I'm getting the information from, but you're just gonna have to trust me that it is cemented in some kind of fact and I'm not just making stuff up. So here we go. Our story begins how many stories in FNAF end, with fire. But this fire was special. It was the FNAF 6 fire. The Inferno ending. The cleansing flame to end an era, a franchise, and a story. Henry, whose last name may or may not be Emily, after failing time and time again, had finally done it. He had freed the children, his daughter, and he had finally gotten revenge on his old friend who had hurt him so long ago. Michael, who had dedicated his entire life to erasing the sins of his father, could finally die knowing his work was complete. Except, it wasn't. Unfortunately, Henry didn't quite understand how Remnant and Souls worked. You see, William understood the difference. Remnant did disappear in the heat, but the souls, they linger. They can't move on until their work is done, or someone actually frees them, like Michael did with Crying Child in FNAF 3. So William's remnant was gone, but his soul remained. But he was weakened, his body destroyed. Elizabeth and Charlie were similar. No remnant, no power, but their souls lingered. And Michael, who had survived the FNAF 6 fire, understood this. And so, he plotted to figure out a way to finally put a stop to it. Michael went into hiding, living in shadows as he would say, and although Fazbear Entertainment was no longer a corporate entity after FNAF 6, it was started up again somehow, and Michael had a hand in the creation of the Pizzaplex. But before the Pizzaplex had opened, Fazbear needed to restore its reputation. And with this, Five Nights at Freddy's VR Help Wanted was created. The game was created quickly because the construction of the Pizzaplex was already underway, as seen in the FNAF Help Wanted Easter egg. And so, because Help Wanted needed to be finished sooner rather than later, the team at Fazbear gathered some random FNAF electronics and used their code to help program the game. Among these electronics was a piece from William Afton. The piece was scanned into the game, effectively scanning William's soul into the game, where he took the form of Glitchtrap. The first person to playtest the game that we know of was Jeremy, and well, he experienced problems, mainly Glitchtrap trying to take over his mind and escape the game. Rather than succumb to the mind control, Jeremy took matters into his own hands and ended it all by killing himself via cutting his face off with a paper guillotine. The next person to test this game, as far as we know, is Tape Girl. She goes in knowing very well the dangers of doing so, and she goes in with one purpose and one purpose only: to destroy the anomaly. She goes in and is successful, kind of. We learn from the tapes that she splits Glitchtrap up into a bunch of different tapes, his soul basically being split, therefore relinquishing him of any power he had once had, similar to Voldemort and the Horcruxes in Harry Potter. Unfortunately for Tape Girl though, she did not come out of this encounter unscathed, and the very tapes that she used to trap Glitchtrap contained the information needed to put him back together. Due to Glitchtrap already being in Tape Girl's head, he got her to record audio on the tapes saying to collect them all first, and the last tapes that are collected were from before she had been brainwashed, saying not to assemble the tapes. This is why Tape Girl says hello and asks if the player can hear her twice, once for the time she's first recording, and once after she's been taken over by Glitchtrap. And the person who hears these tapes? The FNAF VR Help Wanted protagonist, Vanessa, whose last name may or may not be Afton. Not sure how that works. Honestly, despite all the hate, I love the Elizabeth villain theories, or as the fan base would call it, oops, all Elizabeths. So, is Vanessa supposed to be Elizabeth or not? It doesn't really matter. Not yet, anyways. So Vanessa playtests the game after Silver Parasol Studios, the people behind the game, emailed the newly rebranded Fazbear Entertainment about a virus in their system. Vanessa, who worked for Fazbear, was tasked with playtesting the game. Her job was literally to inspect bugs, i.e. the tapes, so she collects all the tapes and, well, need I say more? So Glitchtrap truly takes over Vanessa's mind, escaping the game while doing so. And so, Vanessa gets back to Fazbear and begins to work on getting herself hired as a security guard at the Pizzaplex. Glitch Boy, who can hack servers and do all that cyber crap, gets Vanessa hired at the Pizzaplex eventually, but before that, while she still worked at Fazbear Entertainment Incorporated, the office buildings, there was a change in Vanessa's behavior, which was noticed by her coworker, Louise. Louise noticed that Vanessa began searching up strange things on the company's computer and was raising many red flags. This led to her being considered unsafe, needing therapy, and so, mandated by Fazbear, Vanessa was sent to therapy. In her sessions, she basically did nothing. She didn't say much, didn't do much, nothing. But whenever she did say a little, or maybe got to know a therapist a little, she was mysteriously sent to a new therapist afterwards. This is because William needed a way to make sure that none of the therapists got too close, and so he activated something else that he had worked on prior to everything. He activated the crying child. Gregory, whose last name may or may not be Afton, and who is a robot, was sent to the same therapist that Vanessa was to keep tabs on everything, and when she revealed too much, or more likely, when the therapist found out too much, Gregory would find a way to kill them. Eventually, Vanessa would get the job at the Pizzaplex, where she was tasked with bringing William back. How did she do this? By killing kids and using their remnant to bring William back through the charging station. But before any of this happened, when the Pizzaplex was being created, there was some odd schematics in the build plan. For one, it was built on top of FNAF 6, which is theorized to be Fredbear's, which means it is also above the sister location bunker. But this isn't all. Remember Michael? Well, he had a hand in some of the construction in the Pizzaplex, and between hiding out in places like Foxy's pirate ship and possibly the area above the Superstar daycare, he built the sister location room. An exact replica of his room in his house back when he worked at Circus Baby's Pizza and Rentals, down to the smallest details as seen by the exotic butters on the TV. Michael had a place to hide out while he worked to tear the Pizzaplex operation down from the inside. Michael notices Gregory, his brother, running around the Pizzaplex, and so he takes him and reprograms him. He reprograms Gregory to subconsciously want to destroy the animatronics and to be suspicious of Vanessa. This is why Gregory says he doesn't trust Vanessa in Security Breach without having any real contact with her beforehand. While all this is happening, William's other child is also wreaking havoc across the Pizzaplex, but in a more subtle way. The Mimic, the big bad, was locked underneath FNAF 6, near the sister location bunker. Why? Because he was a part of that operation. One of the first things I said about the Mimic way back last July was that he looked like a William Afton creation, because he is, specifically, an early version of the Funtime animatronics. The Mimic had all the same bells and whistles, such as enhanced AI and voice mimicking. Speaking of AI, this is what many people, like me, failed to realize. Circus Baby is an AI. Elizabeth is in there, but she doesn't really have that much control. Most of the actions of Baby are from the AI. Baby is not limited to the robot either. She is in the chip that gets put into Hand Unit, the same chip that may or may not be in the Mimic or in the Pizzaplex database, somehow. Elizabeth's soul, however, is haunting the Pizzaplex, same with Charlie. Smooth transition over to Elizabeth and Charlie for a second. Elizabeth and Charlie haunt the Plex, trying to turn the building against each other, except Charlie is a little different now. She's done being the protector, the helpless one. She's the aggressor now. This is why the Nightmare On plushes can be seen around the Pizzaplex, but not the puppet. This is not the innocent Charlie of FNAF 2. She's been hardened by the constant defeats. She's not playing around anymore. Elizabeth, on the other hand, is still doing the same old stuff, whatever her father tells her to do. But she's gotta have a physical form first. She can be seen in the form of the plush babies in Ruin, other Circus Baby things around the Pizzaplex, and also mainly in Help Wanted 2, which kinda solidifies the fact that Glitchtrap and Baby/Elizabeth are kinda the same thing, a point I'll get to later. Now back to the Mimic. The Mimic was locked away, but during construction it somehow got taken out and was shipped back to the Pizzaplex along with the new endoskeletons. The construction workers used this creepy robot to do work for them, and even use the Mimic to give the Endos a baseline AI system. The Endos would then need to be trained later, as seen in Security Breach and Help Wanted 2, but at least they had a foundation to start on. The Mimic eventually kills all the workers, which is why they are all replaced by staff bots. The Mimic gets locked away by none other than Michael Afton, who created the Mexus to make sure the Mimic didn't get out again. And Michael makes the Mexus in the form of the one thing the Mimic might actually respond to, a purple rabbit, the embodiment of William, and all of the evil that comes with them. Because the Mimic doesn't really care about helping William, it isn't going to do his bidding. It just wants out. But it does have the memories of William creating him, and all of the evil that William has dispersed through the years. And so Elizabeth now has a new outlet, an AI modeled completely after Baby that is now in all of the Endos at the Pizzaplex, and basically running security at the Pizzaplex as well. And so Elizabeth and eventually William get Vanessa to train the Endos and the AI to all work to maintain this operation. How does William control Vanessa? By brainwashing her into thinking she's Elizabeth Afton, giving her vague memories of Elizabeth's childhood along with fake memories to make her more dependent and likely to obey. In addition, when Vanessa isn't fighting against the virus as hard, she gets taken over by the alter ego Vanny, which is basically just Elizabeth Afton. The goal is for Elizabeth to eventually possess Vanessa, getting William one step closer to his main objective. You see, William isn't a psychopathic, insane killer. He is cool, calculated, knows very well what he's doing, and more importantly, why he's doing it. He's not just killing for the fun of it. William is a family man at heart, and when your family disintegrates seemingly from your own carelessness, you'd probably feel guilty, which William did. He promised to put his youngest son back together, which he did. He promises to bring back his daughter, which was a little more tricky considering her soul was bound to Circus Baby. All of the killing, the remnant, the scooper, was to put his family back together. He had succeeded with Gregory, although there was no soul in him. Elizabeth was the main challenge. So Williams got himself, Elizabeth, Crying Child, and Michael all in one place by Security Breach, all together as one big, weird, robotic family. So Glitchtrap controls Vanessa, the Mimic/Baby AI controls the Pizzaplex, but something to point out is that this AI had to learn from something. Vanessa. She teaches the AI to take after William, as seen in Security Breach during the Endo section. This makes the AI of the Pizzaplex basically the Glitchtrap virus minus the actual soul of William, which, if you remember, the Glitchtrap virus is pretty strong without William's soul as it was able to manifest even before it broke free from Help Wanted. So you have an augmented Glitchtrap AI topside, but what about underneath? So Vanessa tried to train the Mimic too via the Sticky Note room, but it was ultimately a failure. The Mimic was the plan B. If William couldn't come back, then the Mimic would continue his work in a weird robotic way. It would later become obvious that the Mimic didn't really want anything to do with the Afton agenda or anything of that sort, it just wanted out. And eventually, it would basically become William to the point where even Elizabeth was fooled. The Mimic was no longer the reflection, the copy. William was. But that's for later. So Vanessa gave up on trying to train the Mimic, but Charlotte, who saw that Glitch Boy was trying to train it, made sure to prevent it from getting topside, and so she influenced the Pizzaplex against the Mimic, hence the Nightmare Yawn staff bot saying, "In your dreams." The Mimic is not escaping, it's trapped, and it stays trapped until ruin, but that's also later. So, a newly programmed Gregory is now tasked with putting a stop to the madness. So a prototype of Freddy malfunctions on stage, and Gregory hides inside him to stay at the Pizzaplex after hours. When Freddy wakes up, Gregory tells him that he wants to leave, but he doesn't. The normal AI in Gregory is telling him to get safe, but deep down, he is programmed to destroy the Pizzaplex, which is what he does. Freddy, who may or may not be influenced by Michael, protects the Crying Child. Security Breach plays out basically how it does in the game. Freddy isn't affected by the Pizzaplex AI because he's a prototype and therefore not hooked up to it. The other animatronics aren't even evil, they really just want Gregory to get out of there. The only real threat is Gregory himself, who might let the Mimic out if he explores too far. But Gregory doesn't know that. So Gregory breaches a lot of security and gets very close, but eventually decides that saving Vanessa is more important. Gregory beats Princess Quest 3, which frees Vanessa of Glitchtrap, almost. A little part of Glitch Boy lingers, but it's fine. But instead of Vanessa, Gregory, and Freddy riding off into the sunset as a weird Afton family, they decide to really put a stop to it. Vanessa has vague memories of where Afton was being put together in FNAF 6, and so they destroy it before Burntrap could even begin to form. They go down further, where they encountered the Mimic. Kinda. It's down there, but it's stuck, and Gregory and Vanessa discover the Nexus. They ensure that the Mimic can't escape by sealing the wall up with concrete, or they just leave and the concrete wall was already there, I'm not sure. So they leave, and all of the activity under the Pizzaplex causes a small part to collapse, along with Vanessa and Gregory most likely setting fire to the place, destroying it further. Vanessa makes multiple spray paint Vanny characters and uses purple paint in general to help guide and warn others. Glitchtrap is still in her mind, a little, so the Vanny persona stays with her. While the construction workers try to fix the Pizzaplex, which is heavily damaged, it begins to sink and break even more. The construction team calls it a lost cause and leaves, except one technician, Bonnie Boy. Bonnie Boy has seen how the arcades act, and he knows that it'll only all be over when the final arcade is beaten, Princess Quest 4. Unfortunately, he doesn't realize that the fast technician mask he needs to get there is connected to the Glitchtrap AI virus. Vanessa, who still has access to the Pizzaplex security, tries to guide Bonnie Boy through the game to collect the memory plushies and destroy Glitchtrap, similar to how Tape Girl tried to guide Vanessa through destroying Glitchtrap in Help Wanted 1. Except instead of tapes, it's purple paint on the walls guiding Bonnie Boy. Once all of the memory plushies are found, and Bonnie Boy snaps out of the trance he's in from being in Glitch Boy's domain, he earns the final Princess Quest token. He plays the game and frees the princess finally, but it comes at a cost. William had one final trick up his sleeve, a Hail Mary that just might be crazy enough to work. By playing the game, Bonnie Boy also assembles the Faz Force Megazord and therefore assembles Glitchtrap, who emerges out of a charge station, similar to how he would have if his plan had worked in Security Breach. Glitchtrap emerges and takes over Bonnie Boy's mind, transferring his consciousness into a mask bot who gives Cassie her mask in ruin. Glitchtrap is finally destroyed, and with it, William is gone as well, for good. Or at least until another game or book comes out that says all this is wrong. So, what was William's final plan? The Mimic. Cassie gets a distress call from Gregory, saying that he's trapped in the Pizzaplex and that she needs to come save him. So, she does. And along the way, she is given a Vanny mask by a staff bot. This mask would be the undoing of all of the work put into detaining the Mimic for the past decades, and it was given to her by her own father, who had to watch helplessly as he gave his daughter the very thing that would be her demise. So Cassie does the opposite of Gregory, but also the same as Gregory. She breaches the security, just like Gregory, but instead of destroying the animatronics, she repairs them, and she takes it a step further when breaching security. She doesn't just breach the physical world, but the digital one as well. She has the help of Helpy, pun definitely intended, the digital manifestation of William's Glitchtrap virus. Minus William. Helpy has slightly different goals than the Mimic though. Remember, the Glitchtrap virus is now basically being run by Elizabeth/Circus Baby AI, and she thinks that the Mimic is William. Now before you think that that's an absurd take, it's happened before. Elizabeth has been fooled by a decoy of her father before, in FNAF 6 by Henry, so who says it can't happen again? She thinks that the Mimic is really William, so she does everything in her power to free it so the experiments can continue. The Mimic just wants to be free. The Mimic doesn't want to be a copy anymore, it wants to be the real deal. Similar to Ennard wanting out nothing more, the Mimic wants the same. It doesn't care what Elizabeth wants. Elizabeth shouldn't even be there. Neither should Charlotte, but they are both still clinging on, still trying to finish each of their father's works. So Cassie eventually destroys the Nexus and frees the Mimic. She seems to have changed the AI of at least two of the animatronics though, Roxy and Eclipse. She gets them to help her. And although she does escape from the Mimic with Roxy's help, the real Gregory contacts her and explains that she was tricked by the Mimic and that they couldn't risk being followed, and so they collapse the elevator that Cassie was escaping in. But if the ending is to be believed, Cassie isn't dead, and more than likely will be the only force left besides Michael who is still willing to fight. The Athens family is done. They finally expelled William from the physical and spiritual world. Their story is kind of over. A fake robot Elizabeth, crying child, and Michael Afton can all live in their weird off-brand Afton family unit. The real Michael, of course, isn't done because he wants to end everything, and most likely will in future games. Cassie, if still alive, is in too deep at this point. She can't back out. Obviously, the next game will be a prequel, Fall Fest 77 or whatever, where we'll probably learn that all of this is wrong, but until then, remember that this is just a theory. A game theory!